have to start to make bold steps.
Yep.
Because, going into the hospital, laying in the CCU and the ICU, I have patients in the hospital right now, physicians covering for me,
Yeah.
getting, different treatments, whether it's dialysis or surgeries and different things.
Right.
And you're in the hospital, and the hospitals, it can stabilize you from an acute illness, but it's not going to give you that long-term
Yes.
well-being.
Yeah.
And that's what you want.
Gotcha. Are you familiar with the term Herxheimer reaction?
Yes. This basically, early on, it used to be when you treat someone, you have parasites or whatever, you have killing, you have an acute inflammatory reaction with a kill off and that type of thing.
Yeah.
I refer to it as a detox reaction. It's
Yeah.
it's really your autoimmune system responding to an inflammatory process, whether you're killing off microbes or you're transitioning toxins through your body, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. And so I always call it the healing crisis.
Yes, yes.
And the reason why I call it the healing crisis, because healing is happening, but you see it as a crisis.
Yes.
And that's the huge difference between modern medicine and natural medicine.
Mm-hmm.
From a modern medicine standpoint, you're often never going to see this healing crisis.
Yeah.
Because what you're looking for when you go to get any kind of drug or over-the-counter nutraceutical or pharmaceutical, what you're looking for is the alleviation of symptoms.
Yes.
And so you don't want to see any type of reaction at all. You want to see no reaction.
That's right.
Our perception of health is the absence of disease or the absence of symptoms.
Yeah.
But what I've seen as I transition from the pill side to the plant side is that type of healing involves you experiencing the dis-ease coming out of the body.
That's right.
And so quite often what I see is that, especially because I use a herbal detox to heal people.
Yep.
And so part of what the detox does, it gets rid of the parasites. It gets rid of the yeast.
Mm-hmm.
It gets rid of the heavy metals, the mucus, the acidity in the body.
Mm-hmm.
And as these things are being prepared to go outside of the body, they have to be alleviated through the skin, which sometimes you experience an outbreak. Sometimes they're alleviated through the sinuses. Sometimes you experience mucus coming up. Sometimes you have flu-like symptoms. And so the reason why I'm asking you this is, talking about this is because what part of natural healing process, why is this part of the natural healing process but not part of the pharmaceutical process?
I think you hit on it because, in the allopathic world, health is the masking of symptoms.
Yeah.
And I like to refer to it as palliative medicine.
Got you.
Because if somebody's on their deathbed and they're having, they've got terminal cancer, having terrible cancer, bone pain, etc., you want to shut off the symptoms, make them comfortable.
Yeah.
Well, that's really the heart of palliative, allopathic medicine.
Yeah.
Is make them comfortable. Now, it extends into other things like, okay, if the blood pressure number is high, get the number down. If the cholesterol number is high, get the number down. So even though that's not a physical symptom, it's a sign that you want to, palliate. So it's really covering up, masking signs and symptoms.
Why the disease is still
there.
Still being progressive, because even though you use a statin drugs, it's focusing on the liver, and the liver is designed to create healthy cholesterol.
That's right. And the statin may be elevated because, cholesterol does a lot of things. It repairs damage. And so it may be elevated by some other adverse process that the body's reacting to. And it's sort of like this. If you're, let's say you're sitting somewhere, a movie theater or a restaurant, and you got, an alarm at your house and it rings on your phone. And so, phone says, oh, house alarm, there's a fire at the house, and it's dinging on your phone, and you just turn the alarm off.
Yeah. You still
keep on eating.
You still got an issue.
Still got a fire. But people don't understand that. We're just turning off the alarms of an underlying illness that's still brewing, still perpetuating, but we're not addressing the problem. So that's allopathic medicine. So and that's one. Two, the actual medications, I cannot overemphasize this. The actual medications is adding to the problem.
Yep.
So let's say you have a high cholesterol and you give them a statin drug. Okay, the statin drug drops the cholesterol level. Now we can do a study for a couple of years and show some benefit. So that's the other people come back. And if I was sitting here with a colleague who will argue with me, yeah, we've shown lots of evidence statin drugs. Yeah, okay, 2 or 3 years you show some benefit. Why don't we show 5, 10 years benefit?
Yeah.
Because what happens is over time, the adverse effect of that drug overcomes the positive, whatever positive effects there may be.
Yep.
And so we don't look at that aspect, but the actual drug is causing a problem.
Yeah.
If you look at people with high cholesterol, and it'd be great to do this study. Look at people with high cholesterol and get put half of them on a statin drug, half on no statin drug. Don't just look over 2 or 3 years. Look over 10 years, 15 years, maybe 20 years, and see who does better.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised a group without the statin drug does better with all. We
Absolutely.
do know that with diabetic pills. We do know with diabetic medications, tight control of blood sugar had an adverse effect compared to people who had fewer medication with less tight control of blood sugar.
Yep.
So we do know that the medication are adding to that problem. So that whole concept of masking symptoms is a problem because the symptoms are a sign of a problem that needs to be addressed.
The check engine light.
The check engine light. So whether that symptom is an ache, that's a sign of some problem, or an elevated blood pressure number, a sign of some problem, it has to be addressed in a natural way, not to be covered up. That's the problem with allopathic medicine. And then the way you're covering it up with a poison that's adding yet another problem. So if you have high cholesterol, high blood pressure, you already have one problem or a set of problems. Then you add a medication to bring it down, you're adding another problem, not a solution.
Right.
And so it's the adverse effect of that drug that's having an effect. Maybe in a short period of time, it has some benefit. I'm not going to say that it doesn't, because it can. But if you're relying on that for the long run, you're adding another problem. And so I tell people that you not only do you not need medications to be healthy, but you need not be on medications to be healthy. And that's an important thing.
Which is why I named the book Vegetation Over Medication.
I agree.
And the other unique thing is that, and I always say this being a chemist first, is that what happens with medications is they just simply manipulate our biochemistry. They don't correct it.
That's right.
And if it doesn't correct your biochemistry, it means that it's not healing you. And it's really important for people to say that. Now, when we look out into our community, the African-American community, we are disproportionately affected in every category. High blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, kidney disease, cancer, the list goes on and on. Why are African-Americans so sick? Is it genetics or is it our lifestyle? What is it?
People like to put the genetics in there, and we're genetically different. People are genetically different in a lot of different ways. So I'm not going to say there are no differences in genetics. When I was a cardiology fellow, we looked at the DD genotype of blacks versus non-blacks, and we have a higher expression of the renin-angiotensin cascade in terms of receptors in the blood and tissue.
Which means that we really just have a sensitivity to salt.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And so you can say, okay, that's a genetic thing. And so maybe, okay, if we're eating more salty food, we're going to be worse than somebody else eating salty food. Maybe living away from the equator is a worse problem for us than other people.
Absolutely.
So you can put your fingers on certain things. I'm not going to totally discount that. But the bulk of our problem is not the genetics, it's really the epigenetics. So it's the environment that we bring to ourselves, the processed salty foods we eat, the processed foods we eat, the excess animal products we eat. We're putting ourselves in a harmful environment, and we probably do that to a certain extent greater than other populations. We in the United States we have the heritage of slave food. That we've brought down. Okay, this is soul food, and so we've taken that, which is not our original diet, and so we have that aspect of things. You can argue that other aspects in a psychosocial environment, the stress and so on and so forth may play into that. But however you look at it, it's always going to be environmental. And what I tell my patients that, okay, you may have a stressful job. My boss hates me. I've got stress at work. I've got stress here, etc. My kids are giving me grief. There are a lot of those things you cannot change at the flip of a switch. There's one thing you can change at the flip of a switch. It's what you put in your mouth and what you don't put in your mouth.
Right.
And the reason that's important, I'll tell them is why, is this way. Because there are a lot of external factors that you don't have direct control over in the immediate time span. So what you do is you control that which you do have direct control.
Absolutely.
So you nourish your body. Well, the important part about optimally nourishing your body is that you fortify yourself. When I came here, it was like 30 some odd degrees. I had to have a coat. I had to fortify myself. I can't go and turn the temperature off, here in Atlanta.
Right.
I like 75 degrees. Let me turn it to, no, I've got to fortify myself.
Yeah.
So your environment, whether it's a racist work environment or kids or life, you may not be able to change those at the flip of a switch. But what you do is you optimize your nourishment, your body, so your mind is clear, your body's more energetic, your blood pressure naturally controlled, you're sleeping better, et cetera, et cetera. So then you can then operate within these environments and actually change these environments, have a positive effect because you're better you.
Absolutely. And so with that being said, you're a cardiologist. At your clinic, you work with people using a raw diet to help some of the most severe type of patients with heart failure, strokes, etc.
That's right.
And you've been able to help them, in many cases, reverse the condition, right?
Yes. We've seen lots of examples where, patients come, and we had patients coming from, internationally, from all over the United States, et cetera, with heart failure, et cetera. The foundation of our treatment is a raw plant-based diet detox. Now, there are some other things we use. So I have a statement that says, okay, the foundation of our treatment is pharmaceuticals.
Yep.
Okay, nutrition. The next level will be nutraceuticals as needed.
Yeah.
Pharmaceuticals, last resort.
Yeah.
So at the pharmaceuticals base is optimal natural detox. There's time restricted eating with some fasting, hydration, etc. We get a long way with that. I have lots of patients come in. They used to do like on my website, we have like a jumpstart detox. They just do the detox and they do very well with that just by itself before they do anything else.